Hello, welcome to today's webinar. This is the daily currency call webinar where Jin shares his analysis and ideas for a specific currency for each day. So today is Monday, he'll be doing Aussie and New Zealand dollar. Tuesday, he'll be doing euro. Wednesday, pound. Thursday, yen and gold. Friday, cat and oil. So I see many familiar names here and also some new names. So do me a favor and answer this poll, just to see if it's your first time here. And while you're answering the poll, just let me share the scope of the webinar. So this webinar is going to be very beneficial to both the long-term investors and the short-term traders. Jim will be going through what could move prices, possible trade ideas, and also highlighting potential targets and risk. So a disclaimer here, any information shared during this session is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of the speaker. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. Just let me check out the poll real quick. Yeah, great. We have newcomers here today. So just a quick introduction about Jin. Jin is the founder of LCMS Traders and Forex Briefcase. He teaches members of the LCMS Traders Club on how to trade Forex. And for Forex Briefcase, he trades a US $7 million account on a daily basis for his managed account clients. And also, he's an international speaker where he speaks in countries like Hong Kong, UK, US, Australia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, sharing his views about the FX market. So I'll post some links later if you want to find out more about Jin. And I'm Jin Wei. I have known Jin for about 3 years now, first as a student and now as a business partner. Jin helped me a lot in trading in general, especially looking at Forex trading from a fundamental and technical point of view. So this is something the newcomers should look out for. So before I pass the time to Jin, just do me another favor and answer this poll. Yep. So I'll pass the time to Jin right now.
Alrighty, so it's Monday. Thank you, Jinwei, for that. I see that we have quite a number of people coming in from Telegram and Facebook Live. So good stuff. Thank you all for attending on a Monday. Today we are talking about what are we talking about? The Aussie and the Kiwi. You know, seems like there might be some things setting up for a big move this week. So I'll be quite interested to see what happens. Let's get started. I see people coming in, but let's get started. All right, so this is the Aussie chart on the daily time frame, right? Actually, before I do that, let me just jump into this one news first. Okay, so on Monday, today, 7 a.m., we just had the RBA Governor Lowe speaking, right? He was speaking at the Australian National University, ANU, about the global economy in the panel discussion on COVID and global economy, right? So he didn't actually do anything much about policy. He didn't say much about policy, but the main headline was that he did this. Where is it? Okay, the main headlines were that he said, not surprising to see Aussie where it is, although would like to see it lower. So straight away, you know, with that in mind, forming the basis, the governor of the Bank of Australia, Reserve Bank of Australia, would like to see the Aussie dollar lower. So the expectation is to see Australian dollar against the US come lower. Then after that, we got another headline where it says, you know, likely to see low interest rates for a long time, at current levels for years. So interest rates are probably expected to keep at this level for an extended period of time. And then also, it doesn't seem to make sense to have employment target like CPI, labor market more complex than just jobless rate. So, you know, they're expecting the unemployment numbers to maybe fluctuate a little bit more, not maintain on that consistent bandwidth that like CPI. So with this, straight away, you should be getting that idea that the Aussie dollar seems like they want the Aussie dollar to come lower, right? They're talking it down. They're not surprised to see where it is, although they would like to see it lower. They would see interest rates keeping at this level, which is very low for several years more. All that talk about trying to bring the Aussie dollar lower. However, what we saw immediately after that news was the Aussie dollar actually went up, right? The Aussie dollar actually went up by about 40 pips within that 4 hours. It actually went up. Why at this? Let me just zoom in here. All right. So at this level, we saw that in the last 8 hours, it actually, of 2 4-hour candles, 8 hours, it actually went up by almost 40 pips. It shot up. Why did it do that? One thing is they were not surprised at the rates being, the price being at this level. So it's going to continue moving. They haven't released any new tools or any new actions to bring it lower. All he's done is talk about it, right? All he's done is talk about it, saying he would like to see it lower. What we're going to have to wait to see is what actions he will do to take to bring it lower. Okay, so because of that, I actually anticipate that we could see the Aussie dollar go back up and test this level of 0.7050. Okay, 0.7050 again, and it would seem like quite a nice trade. You know, a good 60 pips stop for a good 170, 180 pip take. You're going to have a risk reward of 1 to 3, right? So at this level, if we look at it, it might be a little bit of an aggressive trade, you know, jumping in a little bit earlier than usual, than I would usually like. But at this level, we could see the previous low 50 something, 53, 60 to try and make the 160, 180 pips. It looks like it's going to move up to that level, possibly sit there for the week plus, and then maybe come back down again. However, we'll do that second part of that move as we look into the other news coming through later in the week. So straight off, I feel that looking at it, we might see the Aussie dollar go back up and test the 0.7050 level. That shows on the daily time frame as well. You know, it seems to be moving in that range. It probably something needs to happen quite strongly before we are likely to see the Aussie dollar break this 6747 level, which will probably have to come from the Australia economy. From the US side, it probably seems like US dollar is going to go through a little bit of weakness, especially as we see globally a bit of a second wave of the COVID-19 cases rising again. So, you know, COVID-19, we have said it a couple of times, it is a bit of an old news. It is, you know, things that it has been happening for several months already now. But with that second wave, the question is, people are a bit more familiar. People are a bit more familiar with what could happen, such as closing down of economies, people staying home, businesses shutting down. So there might be a little bit more of an overreaction here, which could lead to that big move upwards and then a big swing back down again. So be careful of that. That's the Aussie dollar that I see possibly happening quite quickly, testing the 7050 level. I'll jump into the news. I'll jump back into the news again. All right, so we jump back into the news. Today we have not much news apart from the CAD later tonight, Bank of Canada's governor speaking. Tomorrow we have the euro, a lot of euro news tomorrow, so that'll be good because tomorrow I'll be talking about the euro dollar and the euro pound. So we'll do that analysis before those news, the PMI news coming out, get you prepared for the euro PMI news and to trade that. On Wednesday, we see the cash rate coming from the New Zealand. I'll talk about the New Zealand dollar right after this. So that's why I put New Zealand dollar next. After looking at the news, we have the New Zealand dollar cash rate and rate statement coming on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Thursday, a bit of a US GDP number expected to remain about that same level, so no real surprise there. On Friday, we have no real surprises there as well, a bit of a consumer sentiment number. So you see, not much news happening, not much big economic news happening in terms of across the board, right? Only for Euro PMI coming on Tuesday. So I expect to see no economic surprise, but the COVID cases is going to play a factor into whether we're going to reserve currencies or not, whether it weakens the US dollar a little bit more, or what's going to happen. So that's why I think that the Aussie dollar could go back up, hit that 7050 level, and test that resistance for an extended period of time before deciding whether it's going to go higher or lower. My expectation is for it to come back down as the Reserve Bank of Australia, tries to push it back into that range, which they are more comfortable with. Okay, so New Zealand cash rate coming up on Wednesday. Before I go into the New Zealand dollar, I'll tell you a bit about the Traders Club. Why Traders Club is going to be important, especially at this time, is because New Zealand cash rate on Wednesday, the Aussie dollar going back up, possibly going to test the 7050 level. What I'll be doing in the Traders Club is giving you a lot of the updates as they happen. All right. Traders Club, go find us on Facebook, LCMS Traders Club. It is $49 a month to join, or $199 a year. At $199 a year, it's less than $1 a day. It's going to help you massively with your trading. Why I say that? Because if you came from the Telegram channel, you can get the signals there. You get the signals there on the Telegram channel, but we fire out the signals here first in the Traders Club. Let me find it. All right, we fire all the signals here first in the Traders Club, telling you pound US dollar, whether to buy or to sell, at which price. I see someone just click, okay. Whether to buy or to sell, what's the stop loss or take profit levels, and then also give you the commentary behind why we're buying or selling, the economic news, the technical trend, the support resistance, the indicators, the reasons behind getting into that trade, and then at take profits level 1, 2, or 3, whether to hold that trade or to get out. Because we have the 3 different take profit levels, a lot of times you're sitting there wondering, do I get in, or do I hold, or do I get out, or whether it's too late to get out, to get into a trade. It's all there, guiding you through that process of how to follow the signals, and also how to when to get out of the trade. And I do this currency call every day. I talk about one currency pair every day, but on TradingView, I write it up every currency pair every day. So get onto Traders Club. You can read all the currency pairs, every currency pair that I talk about day by day, guiding you through the other processes as well. More importantly, this is the one I really like, tonight. All right, tonight, 9 o'clock, Traders Club members, remember 9 o'clock tonight, we have our weekly live call. What I do during this session is I either teach you a new strategy. The last one I taught you was a straddle, how to trade the straddle strategy. The other ones we do is we coach. So we pick one person out. I know Lewis is on the call. I saw Lewis on the call just then. The last session we were coaching Lewis on how to his psychology and how to trade better. And then also we have invited guests, right? So my personal network, which I invite to come in and speak, to talk about wealth building, to talk about building passive income, building a high income skill, all the different, we even have brokers coming in speaking as well. So all the different things that we're going to introduce, high level coaching on a Monday, 9 o'clock. The other coaching sessions we have is on Wednesday 8:30, where we go through how to trade better, all the different indicators, looking at trends, support, resistance, Bollinger Bands, stochastics, MACD, PSAR. This Wednesday we'll be talking about Fibonacci's, how to enter using a Fibonacci, how to exit using a Fibonacci. all the different how-tos and what to watch out for when you're using a Fibonacci extension or retracement, right? So the coaching sessions are all there. The best part about it is it's all recorded, right? The best part is all recorded. So anytime you want to recheck, refine, rewatch, it's all there. Anytime you join, you can also watch the previous videos as well. So it's all there. If you trade, if you take your trading seriously, make sure you join. Okay. With that, let's look at the Kiwi. Kiwi is going to be actually really interesting. Kiwi on the daily time frame, it came down. I think the last time I spoke about it last week, I said that it was going to retest this level before breaking down. It didn't retest the level, it shot straight past it, but it's still testing this 6426 resistance level. At this point now, I actually do think that it probably will sit there for a little bit. So I think that it might sit there, test up a little bit. Okay, let me zoom in a bit more, make it a bit easier to see. Okay, so it probably will sit there, and the news coming up, the interest rate decision, they're not going to change interest rates. They're unlikely, very unlikely, possibly even not going to change interest rates, but pay attention to the statement, what they say in the statement. They might say that they need a bit of stimulus to encourage growth and recovery in the New Zealand economy. So we might see a little bit more volatility coming through that rate decision. However, I do expect that it's going to sit at this level. Why I actually really like this level is if it does break. So let me just put this area in there for you. All right. So think about it in that whole area. If it breaks above this blue area, right, you have a good 80 pip stop loss, 90 pip, very generous stop loss, 90 pip stop loss for a possible 90 pip, 100 pip take profit. So 1-to-1. Okay. Upwards move. If it does break lower, oops. If it does break lower, we could see again a 90 pip stop, a generous 80-90 pip stop for a good 100 pip take again. So comes in to be quite a big trade, but you also still have a positive risk reward ratio. Either way, okay, we don't know what the news is going to say, what the statement is going to say, but either way, we could see a good trade bouncing off this resistance level, going higher, or bouncing back down, coming lower towards the 6271 level, or moving up towards the 6575 or 66770 77 level as well. So we have for the New Zealand dollar a two-way play. I would actually say that, you know, you look at that, that's a good trade that way, and also that's a good trade that way. So maintain that flexibility. Wait for the news. Good thing is New Zealand dollar, Bank of New Zealand has actually moved the interest rate decision. It's not 5 a.m. anymore. I used to trade it at 5 a.m. It was terrible. Now it is at 10 a.m. A lot easier to trade at that time. So wait for the news to come out. You know, maybe even have your orders. Those of you who have gone through the straddle strategy, have your orders and stop losses in place, have your take profits in place. That could be a very good trade coming on Thursday, if I'm not wrong. All right. Any questions? Musin asked, expect New Zealand dollar to be strong or nothing happened. Musin, I just answered you. I just saw your question, but I just answered you. So maintain that flexibility, having both ways. I do anticipate that we could see it move up, more likely to move up than to move down. Alrighty. If not, if there's no other questions, you want to take it back, Jue?
Okay. Yeah. So I've just launched a poll on the review of this webinar. So if you don't mind, just help me answer it. At the same time, I'll just let you know that a recording of this video will be uploaded. And thank you so much for joining the session today. Do join us tomorrow as we talk about Euro. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for your time.
Make sure you,
thank you, Jin,
members,
for...
make sure you turn up for the session tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and do check out, those that are not in Traders Club, do check it out. The website that I've just pasted. Yeah.
Thank you, Louis. Nice seeing you again. Hi, Robbie. Thanks, Harriet. Thanks, Amy. Hi, Simon. First time seeing you there. Hey, Godwin. Alrighty, take care now. Trade safe. Bye-bye.